Hey guys, this is Austin. So you may have seen my video last week where I took a look at the iPhone 7 clone. However, today we've got something just a little bit bigger. So this is a clone of the iPhone 7 Plus. And again, I gotta give a big shout out to B-Sound for hooking us up with the mock-up. The first thing you'll probably notice are the cameras. So while the iPhone 7 does have a larger rear camera, the Plus/Pro, whatever they decide to call it, is actually rocking 2 rear-facing cameras. This is by no means the first phone with dual cameras. So I recently checked out some other phones that implement dual cameras in interesting ways. The cameras can have different focal ranges, which would give you some actual real zooming capability on the iPhone, and you could also be able to take a photo with both cameras at the same time, which could give you more detail and less noise. One thing that's shared with the normal iPhone 7 is the lack of a headphone jack. So if you take a look at the bottom of the phones, you'll see that there are dual speakers on both. Now that's nice, however there's no headphone jack to be seen, which means that you're either going to have to buy some Lightning headphones or switch to Bluetooth. So to put all this in perspective, I have one of every single iPhone design yet. So starting out with the OG, the original iPhone, the first thing that jumps out to me is how much bigger this phone has gotten. That is crazy. And the thing was, this was considered to be a pretty big phone back in the day. So if we take a look at the thickness of the iPhone 7 Plus, we get 6.8 millimeters. Now if we compare that to the original iPhone, there's a pretty big difference. This guy was 11.4 millimeters thick. With all the talk about the iPhone 7 dropping the headphone jack, it's easy to forget that the original iPhone also had headphone jack issues. So the port here is very recessed. Some pairs of headphones would fit, but a lot of them did need an adapter just to be able to plug in your headphones. Something that really hasn't changed that much in the years is the design. So we're still looking at aluminum builds, and both of these phones feel nice. I honestly feel like, the giant plastic window aside, the original iPhone design actually still holds up pretty well today. Moving on, we have the iPhone 3G and 3GS. So while it was still the same tiny sized iPhone compared to the Plus, it was the first iPhone that went to an entirely plastic build. It's not terrible, but compared to the original iPhone, and especially the following models, it just feels a little cheap, a little, well, plasticky. Next up we have what is probably my favorite iPhone design ever, the iPhone 4 and 4S. It's just a really simple, classy design. So you have 2 sheets of glass sandwiched by a band of metal that goes around, which includes the antennas. Now this was definitely not perfect, especially the original iPhone 4s would suffer from antenna gate, which if you grabbed them from the wrong way, it would kind of keep the antenna from actually giving you any service. But besides that, the design itself still absolutely holds up today. They did still stick with the 3.5-inch screen though, which is tiny compared to today's standards. I mean seriously, this entire phone fits inside the iPhone 7 Plus screen. Moving on, we have the iPhone 5 and 5S. This is very much a continuation of the 4 design, so it did feature a larger display, however for the most part it was very similar with the addition of a metal back. The iPhone 5C was a little bit of an odd one out, so it's essentially the same internals from the iPhone 5, however it was in a new plastic shell. So if we compare the iPhone 7 clones to the 6 and 6S, you'll see that they look very similar. So there are some differences. The cameras are different both on the 7 as well as the 7 Plus, and the antenna lines are much less noticeable. Another possible change is with the home button. So while the 6 and 6S have the same physical buttons that have been here forever, the 7 likely will have a touch-sensitive button. So we think of this like 3D Touch or Force Touch on the Mac. So essentially, when you press it, it will give you a little bit of a sensation of feedback. However, there's no actual physical button press there. It might not be the most exciting upgrade, but what do you guys think about the iPhone 7? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.